don't be afraid of the thoughts of the enemy. Don't allow fear to come over your life because you're so focused on the lies that the enemy is speaking to you about your situations, about your life, about things that you may be going through, things that you're hoping and wishing that they change, hoping and wishing that they get better, things that may be taking longer than expected, things that may even, look like they're impossible, things that, that like God, if it's something that you don't do, then it can't be done, you got to know that the enemy knows that. He knows that you're waiting on something, and he knows that you're trusting and you're believing in God for something. And he knows that it's going to require your faith. It's going to require your trust. So what he does is, because you're trusting in God and because your faith in God is there, he wants to come and steal that. He wants to come and destroy that and make you believe the lies that God is not going to show up, or make you believe, the lies that if you as a person don't take this step or move this way or step into it or move fast enough or try to take control of the situation, if you don't do it, then how is this supposed to be done? We have to pay attention to the lies of the enemy, and we have to make sure that we cast down every thought and every imagination that is not like God. And we have to pay attention to that, because we know who God is, and we know what God stands for. We know what God has promised us. You know what God has spoke to you. You know what God has said to you. So you have to hold on to that. Now you got to remember that in our life, that we're here, but God has already been in the situations that we are facing right now. He has already been there, and he has already fixed, he has already destroyed, he has already made way, and that's something that you have to trust and believe. God was in your yesterday, he's in your today, he's in your tomorrow, he's in your future. God is already there. He's already planned your life out, so when we're in the situations to where we are in dire need of something, and we are in a situation to where your faith is there and your belief system is strong, and that God is going to show up, and that God is going to make a way, out of no way. You have to stand there, but you have to be